Okay, so now Libra, so as we were saying about Libra, as an air sign, it struggles with the emotions. And a lot of time Libra energy finds their own emotions extremely painful to deal with because they so much contradict their own ideals. You know what I mean? They contradicts what they believe to be true. It contradicts what they think is good, what they think is true, what they think is beautiful. And Libra likes to think that emotion is supposed to always be pleasant, like it should always be good, agreeable, loving, happy, harmonious, uplifting. And when they feel things like anger, jealousy, hatred, intense desire, it scares them tremendously. So that type of emotion really scares them. They really feel like you shouldn't feel those types of things. Now, mind you, that air is supposed to be so civilized, so it looks down on emotion. But their deepest lessons is in their emotions. So what happens is they carry around this guilt complex, not even realizing that it's there because they're feeling guilty about the things that they are feeling, because it goes against their ideas of being good. And so they repress their emotions at a very, very tremendous rate because they conflict with their own image of who they think they should be, and because it feels like it'll get them in trouble, when they show their real feelings. So they've learned to suppress it, to not rock the boat, to avoid confrontation. And when those things happen, either way that it occurs, when that Libra suppresses, represses those emotions, you get extreme internal disharmony, you get depression, you get physical illness, you get jealousy and envy towards other people because this pent up anger and hostility has to come out, and it comes out in a very indirect way. Libras, as much as they love truth, they are very emotionally dishonest, and that's with themselves and with other people. But understand it's not intentional. See, that's why we're doing this work, because we are wanting to understand the energy so we can understand how this works within our own psyche. Because somewhere in your chart is Libra. Somewhere you may have a planet that's in the placement of Libra. So it's important that we understand what these archetypes are saying in terms of what the energy means, so we can understand ourselves and what makes us do the things that we do. So it isn't intentional with the Libra. It's just that they are sensitive idealists, and they have this perfect image of the world, this perfect image of a relationship, this perfect image of whatever it is. And that's something that they have to learn. Now, also because they are very much learning so much through relationships, there's also the issue of being too dependent on their friends and loved ones in relationships, because they are all about harmony. So it doesn't mean that these people are automatically always harmonious. They may be struggling, fighting to obtain harmony. So they may have to obtain it through, dealing with codependency, not being too dependent on their family and friends. Sometimes, and Libra can have a problem with selfishness. They can have issues asserting themselves, not making their needs known, and that can be a real problem for them. That indecisiveness that they have. But see, the thing about the Libra, if you leave the Libra alone, they can make choices. They can determine what it is that they want. But when they are around other people, it's just that when they get around somebody else, they are adjusting their choice to get the maximum cooperation, because their passion isn't in what they really want. It's more about the company, it's more about the harmony with other people, with other individuals. Even when you find yourself in an argument with a Libra, they may not even be arguing specifically against your point. It's about finding the midpoint for the Libra. See, it boils down to them needing to be balanced and not liking the extremes. So anything extreme, Libra doesn't like it. It makes them uncomfortable. Whether that's extreme, emotion, or it's all about cooperation to them. That's really what they honor. It's cooperation. That's what it is all about for the Libra. Now, the shadow, in depth talking about the shadow, when it comes to Libra, if you've dealt with a Libra in a relationship, or you've seen the bad side of the Libra, which is oftentimes we don't really see the shadow unless we have these personal relationships with people most of the time. Because most of the time people can keep it at bay until they, certain specific types of triggers, and it takes spending certain time, personal time in certain spaces with people to see that shadow the majority of the time. So one thing about the shadow of the Libra can be adoration, being adored, seeing everybody else as a mirror, their charm, their being able to flirt with people, their gift of flattery, always having the perfect compliment, the instinctive knowledge of what another person is, what they think they want. All of that, you know, represents a sense of the shadow. Because when it comes to Libra, they had this ability of making you seem to believe you're the only one. This is the bad side of the shadow of the Libra. People can say they can make the perfect partners, but when they are not that well lit version of the Libra, and when they are the shadow, people would beg to differ. People would beg to differ because they can really convince you that you are the only one for them, and that not be the case. They just saying words because there's no feeling. So when you see Libra, strong Libra energy in placements around relationships and love, emotion, moons and these things like that, there can be a lack of feeling in the things that they are saying. They can use their relationships, manipulate their relationships, playing people against each other. That's Libra activities in the shadow. Craving for approval, the need for affection and acceptance from others, that's the Libra shadow. Because they can hate being alone because they need a partner. They want and need companionship. They need to identify through that partner. The only way for a Libra to really confront their shadow is to see it. They have to reflect on how it feels to be put in that situation themselves. They have to see how unfair something is. See, that's the Libra. I'm going to tell you, put it to you like this. Think about Boomerang. Think about Marcus in Boomerang and how he maneuvered in Boomerang. The man knew how to get every woman. He knew what to say. He knew what approach. But it all meant nothing to him because it wasn't just the sexual conquest. It's about the mirror of the self. And see, Libras can very much easily sympathize with their opposite sex. It's a gift that they have as a Libra. Gemini has a similar ability of being able to do that too. They are the twins. So this can also bring about them questioning their sexuality, or them, you know, actually exploring their sexuality. See, air signs all can very much have feelings of negative feelings about their bodies. And Libra, with everything needing to be perfect, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? The Libra needing to be perfect, any little slight little thing being off, and they can take that as them not being right. So they are ugly. That's something that Libra can struggle with, even though they ruled by the Venus and beauty. Naturally have a gift of attraction. So that's what you're looking at when you're looking at the Libra in its shadow.